Dear participants, a pleasant morning to all of you and a warm welcome for the fifth day of National Web Conference hosted by the CBCA Office for Education and Culture in collaboration with Don Bosco Higher Education Institutions, DB High Network, with technical partner Bosco Soft Technologies Private Limited and media partner DBCA, Don Bosco Institution of Communication Arts. May request all the participants and the members to mute your mics and turn off your videos for a better streaming. Dear participants, a pleasant morning to all of you and a warm welcome for the fifth day of National Web Conference hosted by the CBCA Office for Education and Culture in collaboration with Don Bosco Higher Education Institutions, DB High Network, with technical partner Bosco Soft Technologies Private Limited and media partner DBCA, Don Bosco Institute of Communication and Arts. May I request all the participants to mute your mics and turn off your videos for a better streaming.
Hello, good morning, everyone. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, Father, we can hear.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yes, Father, we can hear you. Yes.
Okay, thank you, Sagaraj. Thank you very much.
Dear participants, a pleasant morning to all of you and a warm welcome for the fifth day of National Web Conference hosted by the CBCA Office for Education and Culture in collaboration with Don Bosco Higher Education Institutions, DB High Network, with the technical partner support, Bosco Soft Technologies Private Limited, and media partner Deepika, Don Bosco Institute of Communication and Arts. May I request all the participants to mute your mics and turn off your videos for a better streaming. Dear participants, a pleasant morning to all of you and a warm welcome for the fifth day of National Web Conference hosted by the CBCA Office for Education and Culture in collaboration with Don Bosco Higher Education Institutions, DB High Network, with the technical partner Bosco Soft Technologies Private Limited and media partner Deepika, Don Bosco Institute of Communication and Arts. May I request all the participants and the members to mute your mics and turn off your videos for a better streaming.
ಅದು ಅವಾಗಲ್ಲೇ ತಗೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀವಿ ಒಂದು ಬುಕ್ ಕಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗಿ ಹೌದು
Dear participants, a pleasant morning to all of you and a warm welcome for the 5th day of National Web Conference hosted by the CBCI Office for Education and Culture in collaboration with Don Bosco Higher Education Institutions of India, DB High Networks, with technical partners Boscosoft Technologies Private Limited and media partner DBCA, Don Bosco Institute of Communication and Arts. May I request all the participants and the members to mute your mics and turn off your videos for a better streaming. We're going to start the session now.
So, good morning to all of you. I am Father Charles here, Ray Charles, Secretary for the CBCI Office for Education and we have the last session of the web series under the title Catholic Education in COVID Era and Beyond, Challenges and Possibilities. And this is the day 5 on Apostolic Metanoia. And we would very gladly invite Most Reverend John Mulachera, the Archbishop of Guwahati. He is with us today to preside over the session. Just by way of introduction, there is a deeper introspection in every walk of life during the COVID crisis. We as members of the Catholic Church shall re-examine our identity as ambassadors of God's kingdom and passionate disciples of our Lord. The Church does not exclude the poor, marginalized, and all people of God. How do we respond to the cry of the incomeless teachers today, the aimless students, and the hopeless parents? Adding to COVID, the introduction of national education policy by the Government of India throws greater challenges for us to face. In this context of pandemic, we would like to reflect on a purification, metanoia. Our education institution must probe deeper and revive with new paradigms, practices, and results. The renewal of the Church must provide greater impetus for us to accompany the downtrodden children and the young, affirm the competency and contribution of the teachers, account management and administration with transparency, and accredit our purpose of existence with the vision of our Lord to become true instruments of salvation to all people. Having said this, may I now invite Most Reverend John Mulachera, the Archbishop of Guwahati. Archbishop John Mulachera was born in the year 1951 in the state of Kerala, was ordained a priest on October 23rd, 1978 in the Diocese of Tesco. Pope Benedict XVI appointed him Bishop of Tipu on February 14, 2007. His episcopal ordination was on April 15, 2007. Before becoming a prelate, Bishop Mulachera was doing his higher studies in Rome. He was appointed the Coadjutor Bishop of Guwahati in April 2011, and in 2012 he succeeded Archbishop Thomas Menaparambil as the Archbishop of Guwahati. He is a member bishop of the CBCI Office for Education and Culture and a very prominent leader of the Catholic Church in the Northeast India. May I now welcome Most Reverend John Mulachera to address us in this final session of the web series. Your Grace, please unmute your mic.
It is, can you hear now?
Yes, Your Grace.
Okay. Thank you very much. I am very grateful to you, Father Maria Charles, for asking me to preside over today's session, taking the place of the President of CBCI Office for Education and Culture, Most Reverend Thomas D'Souza. You hear now? Hello?
Yes, we can hear you, Your Grace. We can hear you.
You.
No.
Your Grace, you need to unmute your mic and speak.
No, we're hearing.
Still mute.
Your Grace, you have to unmute your mic. Your Grace. Yes.
Okay. Is it all right now?
Yes, Your Grace.
Yeah, it goes automatically off and on.
Okay.
I am very happy to be here today with you, and I am also eager to listen to our two resource persons, Reverend Father John Manneth, the National Secretary of the CRI, and Reverend Father Sunny Jacob, Jesuit Educational Secretary. They are scholars with vast experience and wide range of knowledge, and have an inner fire of capable of motivating and challenging us to search for ways and means to move ahead.
Excuse me, Father, we cannot see his face.
The theme of today's conference is Apostolic Metanoia. Yesterday, I asked some of my priests in the Archbishop's house what they understood by this phrase, and their answer was half jokingly. They told me it means that bishops need a change of heart and mind.
All has been unmuted.
And people in every strata of the society needs change. The present pandemic situation has given us enough time and opportunity to think of ways and means to go ahead. Our life has gone out of gear since the middle of in the same way, the principals of our schools cannot run the schools. The children cannot come to the school, the parents cannot send them to the school, although both the parents and the students like to have the schools open. And the children are already tired of online classes, and others who don't have the opportunity are feeling discouraged. Though we have come to terms with the corona, we do not know how long it is going to last, how people are going. And the corona pandemic, we have got the new educational policy. As educators, we are apprehensive. Together with that, we are also having the problem connected with the laying foundation for the Ram temple. It has generated a sense of triumphalism in some to the detriment of the minorities. We have to be ready to face all these challenges. This is the fifth and the last conference jointly organized by the CBCI and Don Bosco Educational Network. For the last 4 Fridays, we were listening to different topics. And today the conference is on Apostolic Metanoia. Father John Manneth will speak to us on mediocrity to excellence, and Father Sunny Joseph on paradigm shift in the Catholic education. We welcome them. We are grateful to Father Charles Maria, the Secretary of CBCI Commission for Education and Culture, and also to Father Thaddeus Gregory of Don Bosco Educational Network, who have organized this conference. With these words, I inaugurate today's conference and hand over the mic to our moderator, Father Charles Maria. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Grace. Thank you, Your Grace, for your wonderful and kind words. You've always been very helpful to us, and I know that you, in spite of your hectic schedule, you agreed to come and speak to us this morning. We are very grateful to you for your words of wisdom. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And let's move on to the session this morning. And as we are going to listen to a very important topic, apostolic metanoia, looked at from the point of view of mediocrity to excellence, as well as the type of paradigm shift that we need today. All of us realize that church needs purification, the clergy needs purification, and our educational institution need purification. And at this time of this COVID, it's a time for introspection. And we have two wonderful people today with us. First, we have Dr. Father Joe Manath, National Secretary of the Conference of Religious of India, an editor, Magnet Magazine, and is a member of the International Catholic Education Order, Salesians of Don Bosco, a resource person for leadership and human development seminars, and a much published writer, author, editor of both academic and best-selling books, and over 950 articles. Father Joe Manath has a doctorate from Rome and research in psychology and religion at Oxford University, postdoctoral visiting scholar in the area of psychology and spirituality at Western, Harvard University, and Boston College. Past president of the Association of Christian Philosophers of India and of the Salesian Psychological Association. Member of British Mensa, thinker listed in the Marquis Who is Who in the World. And Dr. Joe Manath also has his to credit some of the bestsellers. You Surprise Me, Happiness Right Now, Radical Love, Closer Love. I think some of these books, they are very bestsellers. And Father Joe Manath believes that life's main task is to become human, the way Jesus showed, and to treat everyone as a human being. And those of us who know Father Joe for many years also appreciate that he lives the talk and he walks the talk. Thank you, Father Joe, for being with us today, and the floor is to you.
So Charlie, what do I do now to make
Yes, you have 15 minutes for your input.
Yeah, how do I make the PowerPoint come on?
You have to share content.
Okay, I click that.
Yes, and go to the single screen on top. Sharing, yes.
Is the PowerPoint coming on? Click that.
You click on the PowerPoint. It will come.
Is the PowerPoint visible now? On my screen it is.
No PowerPoint is visible.
No, huh?
Not yet.
Let's see. Let me see what I'm missing up.
Yes. Now we have.
Now it is?
It's visible now. Yes, Father.
A blue thing called educational leadership. Yep. Okay.
Yes.
Am I audible?
Yeah.
Okay, then I mostly follow the PowerPoint. It will also help me to stick to the time thing better. Okay. Educational leadership in a new world. So, PowerPoint visible, right? PowerPoint visible? Hello?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is visible.
It's
So,
visible.
there are 5 points here. Look at the reality, discern what we need to do, be led. Be led
Yes.
by God, basically. And then to lead and to create a new world. I'll have something on each of these 5. Any leader should look at the reality objective, right? So the Indian reality very basically is this: We may boast of being this and that, but our human development index is still very low, among the lowest in the 200 countries of the world. Increasing disparities, financial and otherwise, and now tendency towards a monocultural hegemony. Sorry for this noise. Globalization and better opportunities for some people. A part of the middle class have joined the upper class. That's the main difference. The new situation we are looking at is this. The COVID-19 and the fear and uncertainty it is introduced, lockdown and its consequences, especially financial, loss of jobs for millions of people, schools to suffer from this since they don't get the income they need to run it, online classes, digital, online and digital, others have spoken about this earlier, and the movement of jobs internationally run into problems since international travel is more difficult. When we say education, what is it? It basically is an activity with four goals. Transmit the knowledge which an older generation has to a younger generation, like when we teach people maths or a language. To create new knowledge. From the time of the scientific revolution, knowledge means to have tools for discovering new knowledge. Transmit some values, example, discipline, respect for authority, etc. And prepare people for the world of work. For most people, the first thing they have in mind maybe to prepare people for work. Somebody may run an education institution. So it's not my face that comes to it. People may run a school or college for one of these four motives. One, because it's international. 1 second. Okay. Because it's an educational policy. India, by and large, has not bothered to include all its people in education. There are large people set out, and shamefully, we are a country where there are more dropouts than those who complete high school. National policies has not been a great success. Education is business. In the recent decades, one of the activities in which there is massive private investment is education, because it is seen as a profitable business or as ideology. A religious or business or political group may want to teach its ideology to the young and therefore run schools and colleges. Or the fourth is what we claim, education as ministry. It is for the good of the people for whom we work. The church has had a long and largely glorious history of presence in education and medical care. Medieval Europe, schools meant going to a monastery or diocesan school. The universities of the world, if you take the coat of arms, whether it's Oxford or Harvard or Madras University, the main word will be Latin. This goes back to the church universities of the Middle Ages. Harvard, for example, the world's richest, most prestigious. It started so that clergymen may not be. I don't have time to go into it. The church has a huge presence in this, the start and running of the universities. The medieval university had four departments: theology, arts, law, and medicine, of which theology was the most influential. In countries like the US, it built the world's largest parochial parish school system so that poor immigrants could attend schools in the local parish and get educated. That educated millions of Americans. And countries like India, where we, both Protestants and Catholics, pioneered education in a whole lot of places. I don't have time to go into details. The number of and quality of Catholic educational institutions is remarkable for a community that's only 1.6% of the Indian population. The number of schools we run, 20,000 or more, is huge. The number of higher education institutions, plus the fact that mostly people flock to it. It's a very, very good sign. And in India, ours is the thing that's most attractive to persons of all faiths. People of all faiths will entrust their children to us at times more readily than to their own institutions. This is a big plus. It's a great advantage. Most alumni are well disposed towards this. For example, right now in the central government, several of the governments, For example, the Salesian churches, which we were living in, and they're very well disposed to it. Now, there are big changes in this, since big money has entered education in a big way. Discernment to find out what do we need to do. In any situation, instead of being fighting, we need to ask, what is God telling us to do this? What's God telling us? And for this, we need to look at what are our fears and what are our sources of strength. What do we need to preserve and strengthen, which are good? And what are we called to give up or reduce? What are we called to change? These questions we need to look at. And for this, we need to be led. Our own favorite personal ideas are be led sounds easy, but to accept to be led by God is tougher than following. Hello? Hello, am I audible?
Yes, there are sources of
I hear a number of other noises. Am I audible?
Yes.
Okay. Being led is tough. It needs much faith and courage like Mary Spear. Let me give you an example. When Benedict did what seems like withdrawing from the world, he's a grandfather of his organized religions. The Benedictines preserved Western civilization in many ways, building up libraries, copying books, and putting monks to it. They are a large part of preserving European civilization, the Benedictine monasteries. Francis and Dominic started as mendicant orders begging friars, but they were among the first to be present in the universities, University of Paris. For example, both St. Thomas and Bonaventure, Scottish, they were part of the new universities, taking in the secular knowledge that came in through the Arabs, which showed great openness. Aristotle came in. So this goes from the beginning. We're coming to more modern times, Nano Nagel of the Presentation Sisters. When Britain treated Ireland as a Catholic colony and refused education to the Catholics, this woman came from an aristocratic background, left it, would go to hovels of the poor, did something illegal, which was to educate Catholics. Don Bosco's example is too known, I think, for this. That is to reach out to the poorest and provide education, which is Mahatma Gandhi. Paulo Freire, I like to quote, who suffered for his convictions because his methods made poor people literate with the military government in life. Nelson Mandela wanted to build a rainbow nation where people of all skin color could live in peace. One of the big things there was education of all. Now, in this situation, how do we lead? I like to quote two sources. One is a book, you may not be familiar with, by Jim Collins, called Good to Great. Collins, with his team, analyzed with a very systematic scientific methodology. He wanted to find out how is it when many companies were doing well, they were good, how some of them became outstanding, became great, not just good. He analyzed the reasons. I like to quote 2 or 3 things from that. So one finding is the leadership matters. Now,
see how they're talking, how the meeting is.
Leadership matters. That is, this may surprise some of you. The top companies, I'm talking of businesses, were led by persons who were personally humble, not showy, but ambitious about their organization. Means very confident about their organization, personally very humble. Recently, he gives examples from the US. Recently, I read JRT, this is spelling mistake, JRT. When Ratan Tata was interviewed, what was the main quality that distinguished JRD Tata, this huge titan of business in India? Ratan Tata said maybe his main quality was humility. I'm talking of top business leaders. Next is passion. A group should identify what are we best at. To quote what is best known to me, for example, the Salesians, I really think we are good at educating and bringing up poor boys. I think we are really good at it. That's our passion. And 3, the who matters more than the what. That is, suppose we have a fantastic plan and we choose the wrong people, it will be a mess. So he insists, don't compromise on selection of top personnel. If you choose the wrong people, your fantastic plans will fall apart. I think this is a great lesson for those church people. Don't compromise on quality of those you choose. This is key for leadership. Those three are from Jim Collins. The fourth I like to quote is Azim Premji, noted not only for making a company very great, Wipro, which was earlier just a small vegetable oil company. He said leaders should know, accept change as a fact of life, but know what we will not change. He said in Wipro, two things we will not compromise on, integrity and quality. I don't have time to give examples, there are striking examples. Integrity and quality we will not compromise. So we church people, I'm talking of secular companies, we should accept change as a part of life. Like today there are no changes, but know what we will not compromise on. And the fifth trait of a good leader is to see problems as opportunities. Small minds see only problems, big minds see. So we need to ask today, what are the opportunities available for reaching out to the neediest in the present situation? If we look at the school, college, or religious order, we can see it this way. There is shared values and beliefs of the soil. For example, for us, it's faith in Jesus and trust that God is with us. The vision, we look at people in a particular way as Jesus showed. We don't look at them as sources of money. We don't look at them as higher and lower caste-wise, etc. This is a vision. And there is a mission statement. If these three function well, the tree will be healthy. If these three are not there, the tree will not work. Now, what's the vision of a Catholic education? There was a point on this for schools, for colleges during the time of Pope John Paul II. I'd like to list the main things. Any Catholic school should, and maybe we should have it on a chart or on a wall somewhere. As Catholic school or college, these are our beliefs. Everyone is a child of God, hence to be loved and respected. Therefore, we do not tolerate discrimination or bigotry. And if there's a preference, it's a preference for the least. We are here for a mission that is for your good, not for making money. Ethics, I'm quoting Kohlberg. Kohlberg, a very famous study on value education, showed that students pick up not the values taught by an institution, but the values practiced by the institution. So our students will pick up the values we practice. Therefore, the institution must be known for its integrity and transparency. And we bring about discipline not through punishment and shouting and screaming, but through example and God. So I think these five should be traits of any Catholic school. Then largely in India, schools are run by educational religious orders. Now, giving seminars for principals of Catholic schools, I find that I'm disappointed that several are in a school because they have a B.Ed or M.Ed, the principal has got, but often it's the clerk who tells them what to do. No, if you're in a school, you need to train your religious for a system of education with its spirituality. We are not there just to teach maths and geography and English grammar. For example, sorry, mine again, since that's what I know best. These lessons from the beginning are trained in our system of education, which is also a spirituality for us. The three pillars are reason, religion, love, and kindness. We need to prevent rather than punish, and to promote a family spirit where relationships matter more than goals. And we think love what the young love and make the school into a home. The educator should be a friend, a brother, sister, or a parent figure, and that familiarity breeds confidence, not contempt. Education is a total experience in the classroom and outside. That we need to be teachers of persons rather than simply teachers of subjects. And this establishes a lifelong relationship.
No voice is not
It was coming. Suddenly, I got the message you are unmuted. No,
Education
you are unmuted.
to make it a happy and enjoyable experience.
Message and no more voice.
Hello, am I audible? I'm hearing some of the voice. Hello? Hello?
You are audible. Yes, you are audible.
Okay,
But
fine.
somebody else
And
is.
I'm just giving this as an example that we religious who are in a school, we need to have a training for it and the spirituality of education. We are not there simply to run it to teach maths or to conduct exams. I feel seminars, but lasting changes will be brought about only by persons who themselves have been transformed into the kind of human beings the world badly needs. So as Tim Collins said, as the Gospels were telling us about, it's not clever tricks and shortcuts that will bring solutions, but deeply transformed human beings whose presence makes a difference. Our role, my role, your role, is to be that kind of a person and thus help others to become this type of person. Are we serious about it? That's it. So I'm done.
So, Father Joe, thank you very much. That was a very wonderful input. And you have thrown in a lot of challenges for us to discuss. And certainly, this also say that the persons need to transform themselves into human beings that the world truly needs that. We can take a lot of cues from Father Joe Manet's talk. And I would ask the participants to keep your minds very busy, and not to be distracted with other things. Follow the talk, and there is a chat box just below the center of the, where it is. Click the chat box and write your views and questions as it comes to your mind. It is also good for us to know what you think and how you react, so that after Father Sunny Jacob presents, we can also have a discussion based on your views. Please do not write only saying that the talk was good. We know Father Joe Manat gives a good talk, but what matters is how do you respond to that? Respond and how do you
is all disturbance. That day very nice, no? Other father who used to conduct, no, who was that resource person, he used to do.
please mute your mic consciously. Otherwise, whatever you talk to others will be heard by everyone. And can we go to the next one? For Joe Manith, we will come back to you after the second presenter speaks. And in the meanwhile, we would probably have a few views and questions from the participants. And then we will take it from there. Father Sunny Jacob, I would like to introduce him as a well-known Jesuit educationist in India. He is a member of the Jesuit think tank team on national and international issues. After his formation and studies, he worked as a teacher, vice principal, principal, and director of schools in Odisha, Jharkhand, and Jharkhand. Currently, he is secretary to Jesuit Educational Association of South Asia, known as JESA. He is also a member of the International Commission for the Association of Jesuit Schools in Rome. He is a national advisor to the Jesuit Alumni Association of India, JAAI, which is one of the largest alumni networks in India. Father Sunny Jacob is a prominent education activist and a frequent writer in magazines and periodicals on issues of education. And as we all know, he's also a very vociferous speaker and has been, even before COVID, he was traveling all over India giving talks. And now we see him every day online giving talks to different groups. And together with John Dial, he had recently authored a book named Educating India, published by Media House. Father Sunny Jacob, you're most welcome to share your thoughts with us on the paradigm shift that we need. No, Father Sunny, you are not heard. Your voice is. Father Sunny, you are not audible. No, no. Are you able to listen to Father Sunny? Those who are able to listen, please raise your hand. No. Father Sunny,
No.
you are not audible at all, Father Sunny.
No.
You have to check your audio system, mic.
No, we are not hearing. Father has not.
Turn off speaker.
Father Sunny, I think you. Others, please mute your mic. Can we in the meanwhile have a little discussion with Father Joe Manath? Okay, Father Joe Manath, are you ready to have a little discussion? Please unmute your mic, Father. Yes. If there is anyone who wants to ask a question to Father Joe
Before
Manath,
that, if I can add just one sentence. You see,
yes,
there are
Father.
huge resources available in the church which we can use mutually. For instance, one of the big authorities, very knowledgeable about the Indian higher educational system, was, I don't know whether he's active now, Philip Altbach, LTBACH, professor at Boston College of the Jesuits in Boston. He told me so knowledgeable about Indian higher education and who are doing studies on this. In India, he said there's the largest network of tertiary institutions in the world right now. Many of them are small, but the number is big. He was so knowledgeable. Boston College, same, has got a course, a master's program in training leaders for educational institutions. I remember recommending it to some Salesian provincials. What I'm saying is there are within the church tremendous possibilities for training leaders in education, which maybe we are not using.
Thank you, Father. Thank you very much. Is there anyone who would like to ask questions to Father Joe Manath? I see Bishop Chako also is with us today. So welcome, Your Grace. You're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, yes. Please go ahead.
Yes. And there are also many other prominent persons who are here, a lot of people who are educationers. And please share your views or your questions. You need to put it on the chat box, otherwise I will not be able to see. Okay. So you have to put it on the chat box, at least a question, or if you like to ask questions, you say, please give me a chance, and we will ask you to speak up. We can do that. So, but then I need to see it in the chat box, otherwise it's difficult for me to. At least a question, or if you like to ask questions, you say, please give me a chance, and we will ask you to speak up. We can do that. So, but then I need to see it in the chat box, otherwise it's difficult for me to put the time box. Yeah, I can understand there is a lot of echo also. There is so much of echo also. So there is one question to Father Joe Manath. What do you think the challenges for the church or congregation that focuses on enhancing the education of marginalized communities in India? Father Joe. You have to unmute your mic, Father Joe, please.
Okay.
Yes.
Audible now? Okay. I think more than talks like this, we are most influenced by the training we receive in our religious orders. As a solution, I can say we have a passion for our founder. We believe that our educational system works and that our priority is for the poor. We are very convinced of this. For example, my own province, Chennai, our college, Tirupattur, I see my former provincial Stan sitting there. We are proud of the fact that 70% of the students are first generation learners. That means their parents are illiterate. That means we are clear about our priorities. So we shouldn't expect the government to be concerned. We should know why we become religious and whom we want to serve. That needs to be very clear, because the gospel, the preference for the poor is not an option if you believe in the gospel. So that's the group we need to reach out to, otherwise we become a business. And that we need to get from our religious training, not from some secular topic. This is what I think. Like I got it from my solution training. The priority is the poor. Otherwise, I'll be a businessman. You give me money, I'll give you education. No, that's a business.
You're right. Thank you for the Joe. Thank you very much.
One more thing to add.
Okay.
We should be able to create a system of trust. We cannot trust as the government says. For example, in MP, one of our schools, the Bombay province, Aliraj, it was physically attacked. The next rector, Leslie, told me, Joe, I was afraid to go there because Stan Ferreira, the previous one, we had to save him physically. So Leslie made friends with the parents who were of a particular political party. And one day he asked them, why are you against this? You say conversions. But your own children are in our school. You know that we respect all faiths. And the man says, Father, now I am talking as a friend, not as a politician. We are against you not because of conversions, but because you are educating the tribals. And there is a large influential group in India that does not want the poor, the village, the tribals to come out. And we should stick to our priorities.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you very much, Father. Thank you very much. Father Sunny Jacob, can you unmute your mic, please?
No, it's muted again.
No, you need to unmute. Yes. Father Sunny, we are not able to hear you. I think we can have a few more minutes a discussion with Father Joe himself before Father Sunny comes up. Father, you can also see in the chat boxes a few questions raised to you. Okay. And you said very well about the religious have to be trained. what type of a training you would suggest to other than academic? What type of leadership training that you?
Am I audible?
Yes, yes.
You're getting me on to one of my favorite things, formation. See, this huge, long, expensive residential thing, priestly religious formation, it's sad finally it produced mediocrities. The main agent in formation is not the book, not the plan, but the formator. We need to have inspiring people the young need to live with. It is not just about learning some theory. It means, why be a Jesuit? Why be a Franciscan? Why be a Salesian? Why to give up marriage and a career and to call myself a celibate? There should be a passionate reason. Today, for example, for a well-educated young Catholic, religious life is not appealing. They don't see any challenge or inspiration way to waste their life. That's why we don't inspire. So formation is not just about learning dates from the Pontific's life by heart. To create a mature, passionate human being whose presence will make a difference in a school or parish or wherever we are. We do have such people, but I do think that inspiring persons are a minority. The West, they have no candidates for formation. In India, we have candidates, but we don't have enough good, inspiring, well-trained formators. I don't want to be long because
Yes. Thank you. Father Sunny, are you audible?
No.
No. Can you hear him?
It's a pity because Sunny has very good ideas.
Father Sunny, you're not audible. I don't know what happened to you. What happened to your mic today? Because we cannot hear you.
You can turn.
You can, Father Sunny, you may have to restart the computer itself because sometimes the audio settings can alter. So probably you need to restart the computer. Just a suggestion. Don't mind.
His mic is muted there for Charles.
No, yeah, even if it is, Father, please unmute your mic and try again.
Charles, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Loud and clear. Can you raise your hand if you can hear, Father?
Yes.
Yes, we all can hear you. My God. So you are resurrected on a Friday. Yes, Father Sunny, go ahead.
I don't know why.
Father Sunny, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Charles, it is better switch off the video.
I switched off and once again I'm starting. Please let me.
No, we can hear you, Father.
No, we can hear you.
Father Sunny, we can hear you.
Yes, we hear
We can hear you.
The mobile. One second. Please give me one chance. 1 minute.
No, we hear you.
Father Sunny,
Yes.
we can hear you.
Yeah, that is through my another computer, but it will be slow. This is getting ready. 1 second. I'm starting.
Okay.
Starting. I'm going to talk. I'm going to talk now.
Sure, thank you.
Yes, I hope you are able to listen to me now.
Higher education access for like eventually.
First time. Oh.
We can hear you very well. Sunny, go ahead.
Brother Sunny, I really don't know what's happening. I think for the Joe, can we have there are quite a few questions in the chat boxes. Okay. Can we have a few more minutes of discussion, not to waste the time of the participants?
Okay.
So, for example, one question that comes across is, don't you think that the education is a social formation, social transformation, social stability create a process than just impairing knowledge? And the present Catholic education is benefiting only 20% of the students to go through our schools. What do you like to comment on it?
I'm always skeptical about quoting percentages because I wonder how such studies are done to find percentages. Anyhow, but I quoted Kohlberg. See, whether you are in a seminary, in a novitiate, or in a school, youngsters learn by observing, not by hearing conferences. That's why Kohlberg's study on values said that students pick up the values practiced in an institution, not values taught in the value education class. Now, that's a big thing. That means they can see whether the principal treats the rich and the poor the same way, whether the parent coming by cycle and by car are treated with the same way, whether you make a poor student who is late in paying fees stand outside and feel humiliated. They observe all this. So they need not hear conference.
Charles, can you hear me?
Yes. So on mission, students are observant. There are two things in our favor which we shouldn't lose. One is, though politically there is a whole discourse now, many of the people who studied in our schools, colleges have very good feelings towards us. If you hear Piyush Goyal and go speak about education, you will feel moved. Many are privately, they know we are sincere in doing it.
Why your speaker is already?
So that's a big capital to use. And secondly, many others admire what we call discipline. I know people who go and ask the sister, Father, how do you manage to get such discipline in your schools? There's a whole life behind this. Others admire, try to copy this. So there are strengths, many strengths we have which we shouldn't lose. One is the so-called discipline, which is long to explain. The other is that many of our alumni sincerely are our friends and think well of us, as persons, and what they got in the school. They may not say it in the political platform for political reasons, but
Okay, Charles, I am back. Please switch on. Charles, I am back. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I'm sorry for this hitchup. This is the first time I am feeling like this. Otherwise, every day I conduct. Anyway, if you are okay, then I will start speaking. If it is completed that area.
Yes.
Shall I?
Go ahead, Father. Go ahead, Father Sunny.
Okay, thank you very much. And these are all technical problems we have when we start. I hope next 15 to 18 minutes I will take to explain to you what I wanted to communicate. And I thank Father Joe for his wonderful presentation. I hope everybody is able to listen to the talk which I am giving now. I will show you also a presentation which I have directly that would be better for you to see and understand. Hope I will be able to present. Let's see. If not there, I will come back again to without this. Just let me know if anyone can speak. Tell me whether you can see the screen. Can you see the PowerPoint there?
No.
Can you see something there? No. Not yet. Not yet.
No.
Not yet coming, no?
No.
Okay, don't worry. I am going to do without that one for you. I'll just speak what I wanted to say. Now, number one point I wanted to make is anything what we have to understand about Catholic education in India. The first and foremost thing we must understand is the context in which I follow the pedagogy, 5 points of IPP. Based on that one, I will start presenting my paper. First one is anything we must understand in the context. Actually, they say context is the text. Without understanding the context, further analysis will be meaningless. Therefore, the context in which we live, and then based on that context, I will come to the experiences of us, Catholic Church in India, and from the experience we must move for reflection on the current situation what we are in, and then based on that when I'll propose the action, which is around 15 points I'll place before you, and I am sure that all of you are interested and scholarly people, so I will place this will be my presentation, and final point will be an evaluation of the situation where we are supposed to head. Now, the first thing is the reality what we are living. The context is this one. We have a changed context now. What are the changes? Demography has changed. We have economic changes happened. Political changes have happened. Increase of violence and intolerance is coming up, which already Bishop also mentioned that. The exploitation of the environment has happened. Gender inequality is rampant in India. Family structures have changed. Communication technology has simply on the leap, and we have the religious practices also are changing. In fact, religion is hijacked by organizations. So this is the situation, and also therefore education is also changing, which Joe Manna already mentioned the changes that are happening in the education field. So this is the context in which I am building up. My dear friends, remember, based on this one, all of us have certain experiences. What's our experience? First one is a political experience in this country. We have a global terrorism coming up. Migration is a reality globally as well as in India. Environmental concerns are a real issue. That is why Laudato Si is so relevant for us even today. And therefore religious fanaticism and secularization is happening. Recently, the Jesuits have come out with the 4 areas for our mission. The first one is leading people to God, showing them the way. How? Because we are all jammed between 2 powers, 2 extremes. One is extreme fundamentalism and also another extreme secularization. In between, we are caught up. Our youth are caught up. Our children are caught up. So we need to show them the way. Poverty and unemployment is very, very high today. Violence against women and children are our experience on a daily basis. Corruption has no end, whoever comes to power. Scientific and technological development is so much happening in the country. And the most important thing you must remember is the nationalistic politics which is coming up not only in India, whether it is in the world over. You see, nationalist politics is becoming the identity of people. If so, I am coming to the reflection, and I told you the context, experience, and the reflection. What is the reflection? Values, what people are looking for. If you look at the world, we see the values of honor and power everybody wants. Glamorous and easy life, hedonism we call, social status and cutthroat competition. We are being successful by rich or somehow we have to be successful and rich by hook or crook. That is the attitude of people. There is mediocrity even in religious life. We will come to that. Our father already mentioned. Greed is so much there. Ego, selfishness, self-centeredness, superficiality. I think that is one of the challenges all of us must face. Superficiality. None of us have a depth level thinking, depth level attitude, depth level analysis. We are not doing. Simply peripherally we are satisfied. So superficiality is a very, very big issue. And we also understand the injustice. Injustice that is meted out against people. You know, in this pandemic period itself, I'm sure that you are able to identify the injustice that are meted out against vast majority of people, especially the people who are marginalized, people who are, we call the migrant workers or the guest workers. We know the homeless people. We know the women, the tribals, the Dalits, the weaker sections. So that is one of the areas we need to. Therefore, what are the action needed? If the context, experience, reflection is there, then we need to move for action. That's my presentation. As Catholic educationists, it is apt that we all look at Catholic education in India to give new stimulus to the church's involvement in the field of education. We must be daring to look at the areas needed rectification or more deeper renewal. We should not be justifying ourselves, or we cannot be simply happy with what we are doing. You know, we cannot be simply defending ourselves. If there is a mistake, rectification needed, to be daring to do that. We must recall the fundamental characteristics of the Catholic education, the challenges to Catholic education institutions that we are faced with today, both from outside and from within. Now, Pope Francis is the right person to explain to us about a modern education. And he tells all of us, education is not about knowing things or taking lessons, but about being able to use three lingos. He talks about three lingos. Number one, it is those of the head, the heart, and the hands. Learning so that you can think about what you feel and do, can feel what you think and do, and can do what you feel and think. A unity within a person. That is the ultimate aim of education according to Pope Francis. Now, the Catholic education policy of 2007 says, CBCI prepared that one very well, and it says we resolutely and effectively focus on priorities, our personnel. See, which Joe Manna already mentioned about our personnel, the quality, finances, and our institutions. On the education of Catholics, Christians, and the marginalized, we have made that option, especially the Dalits, the tribals, and women. You can see this one in 6.2 of the new education policy of 2007, Catholic education policy. My dear friends, I just bring out 6 points for us to remember. What is this Catholic education we are talking about? It has to be Christ-centered, Christ as the center. All of us know, nothing new I am speaking. But we also have a responsibility to make men and women for others and with others. As Pedro Arupe says, you cannot simply create intellectual monsters. Your school should not create people who are so selfish and self-centered. We need to create people who are for others. We need to have another aspect in the Catholic education, which is cura personalis. Cura personalis means care of the individual. Every aspect of the individual must be cared for. Intellectual, social, political, psychological, spiritual, moral, whatnot. Every aspect has to be, that is called cura personalis. And today the modern science will tell us multiple intelligences. 9 ways of intelligence we all have. Each child has an aptitude, a trait, a special characteristics, an orientation. That must be understood, and accordingly we must teach our children. Constitutional values, I think Indian, Christian, Indian, Catholic educators, we must pay attention to this. Constitutional values must be taught. If you look at the new education policy 2020, which talks about fundamental duties more than fundamental rights, I think it has a lot to tell us. We as Catholic educationists must take note of this, and we need to pledge ourselves to the constitutional education values. Catholic education 27, our 2007 policy must be seriously looked at. We are revising that one now. CBCI is revising that one. And finally, our aim is forming, educating agents for change. People who are educated from our schools must pledge for the people. There should be a justice-oriented attitude, which we don't see. That is what Joe Menna already said. I just bring out the points now for us to reflect. As the important point, significance of training our personnel, which fathers already told, so I'm not mentioning that one, I'm going ahead. So we are witnessing today hostility towards the church and the education institutions by a section of political and religious organizations in India and elsewhere. Increased mob attacks and hooliganism against a reputed institution is the order of the day in many states. We witness a remarkable differentiation. Privatization, for example, the new education policy 2020 talks about philanthropic private agencies entering into the field of education. And we have been witnessing these difficulties in the past years. For example, we have seen the mushroomed corporate education institutions all over the country, and also there is also politically affiliated organization entering into fundamentalist organization, entering into the educational arena, and which are threatening even the Catholic education's existence. We have to compete with these people with quality. Therefore, I am proposing 15 points for us urgently we need to do. Otherwise, we will become irrelevant in the coming days. And what are the issues? Within the church also, I also already explained the problems are there. Challenges for the Catholic school is, I bring out these challenges, as Pope Francis says, sometimes these challenges, it's difficult for us to understand. That's what Pope Francis says recently. Now, the challenges of our identity, for example, Indian Catholic education, all of us are talking about Catholic education. What is that? Actually, in the context in a pluralistic, multi-religious, multicultural, multi-linguistic society, what is it exactly giving us a special identity? Think of that. What is our identity? Challenges of the school communities. We need to look into that aspect. The challenges of dialogue with other people, cultures, and so on. Challenges of learning society. We need to be very, very, as Joe Menna already explained that. The challenge of limited means of resources. We are not getting any aid and so on now, many of our schools. And you know, now in the pandemic period, we have faced this difficulty. Pastoral challenges are there. We have also challenges of multi-religious, multicultural societies, challenges of teachers, lifelong training, places and resources for teachers training for Catholic educators. These are all challenges. We have just 2 minutes to give me pandemic challenges. The pandemic raises questions about our accustomed ways of conducting schools, of teaching confined to classroom, role and function of schools in the neighborhood, etc. That's the first point. Second point, the challenge is this: COVID-19 is teaching us for our interrelatedness, that we belong to a human family that has to come into all of us. Third point I say is the pandemic invites us to revisit our identities of nation, culture, and religion. We need to have a new ways of looking at. And pandemic helps us also discern the essentials from the trivial. Education could equip them for sifting through many possibilities and choices. Educate for life, not only for job, because the new education policy 2020 will talk about more of job-oriented education. We need to think. For example, another area I will tell you is that we all must be creative. Why creative? Look at the Delhi government. They have brought out this happiness subject, etc. as a completely path-breaking new reforms in the schools. We have been here. We have not thought of such path-breaking new ventures. Therefore, my point will be, we need to be creative, relevant, innovative to meet the present day challenges. And the seventh point I suggest, these are only pandemic challenges. School should not be an island itself. It needs to connect with the cultures and the society around us. How will we learn to manage uncertainties is another thing. You know, if you ask me what is pandemic, pandemic is teaching us that cope up with uncertainties. Tomorrow what is going to happen, we don't know. We need to be prepared to face this uncertainty. And finally, Catholic schools need to have 15 changes. I'll just bring out, this is a very interesting thing. All of you can listen this one. Number one is this, which Joe already mentioned, which is my first point. Move from administration to animation. That's the first point. All of us must move from administration to animation. It's easy to administer, but it's difficult to animate. Our forefathers, whichever congregation and church, they were all animators, they were not administrators. Or at least animation was major part of their administration. We need to do that. Second, move from I, me, myself to we. A teamwork has to come. Collaboration must be our attitude. Networking people must be our aim. Move from I, me, myself to we. The third aspect I ask the Catholic educators is move from control to collaboration. We are good at controlling in our own kingdoms. Move out from there and collaborate. That is a call the church needs today to pay attention to. Move from comfort zones to greater networking. We are all, look at the religion, most of us are very comfortable within the four walls of our schools or institutions. Time has come for us to have better networking with the people. Move from management to a movement, because it's easy to be in the managemental sector. We need to be part and parcel of the people, our stakeholders, accompany the people, handhold with them and be part of this movement. That needs a lot of flexibility. Move from success to efficaciousness. You know, the world is craving for success. We do not worry about success. Let us move from success to efficaciousness. What we need is fruitfulness, not about success. That is very important to know. Thomas Alva Edison was a very poor student, but he was efficacious. We need to make such things in our schools. Move from subject-orientedness to child-centered education. That's very important. Multiple intelligence, etc. Lack of time, I'm just going another few more points only. Move from performer to seeker. All religious, you and I must move from performers to seeker. Are you ready to change, flexible? And next point is move from conventional thinking to critical thinking. I think it's very important to have critical thinking. We are accustomed to follow the old ways. We are able to follow the hoof mark of the calf, that story, you know. We should move from there to critical thinking. That is, the new education policy talks about very seriously about that. Okay, 2020 education policy. Move from knowledge to wisdom. It is easy to acquire plenty of knowledge, but we need to be wise people, teachers, religious. Move from authority to service. I see many of us, as Joe mentioned, when the numerous what is called orientation programs and teachers training programs we conduct, we see number of them very good at authority, but be service oriented. Move from mediocrity to excellence. Please, it is easy to be mediocre and many of us are. Please move from there to excellence and move from past glory to present splendor. We need to do, see, earlier our forefathers done wonderful job and built up everything, and we are sitting and destroying actually, many of us. We need to be also create for the future generation splendors. Move from stagnation to creativity. And the 15th point is this, move from tradition to innovation. These are the 15 areas of paradigm shift I propose. And finally, I say what is called the evaluation. IPP, I told context, experience, reflection, action, and evaluation. The fifth point I'm telling is that it is a self-introspection about me, about my congregation, about my church here in India. I'm just evaluating. Many a times, our institutions have become merely a service institutions, like, for example, telephone company, courier service, flight, bank, mall, or a store. You pay and get their service. There is no personal influence or relationship. There is no character formation, no human formation. The wholeness of the personality is not formed. This has to change. And therefore, the conclusion is this. Nowadays, a lot of attention has been devoted to verifying the outcomes of students' learning activities. For us, learning outcome is identified with 5 C's today, which is Father Pedro Arupe, first time brought Coleman back, former general of the society, said, which many congregations has taken up by that one. At that time, if there were 4 C's, now the present general has added one more C. What are the 4 C's? We need to create persons of conscience, competence, compassion, commitment, and coherence. Now, the present general, Arturo Sosa, has added that coherence, because coherence means what I speak must be practiced. And therefore, therefore some suggestions for us. A few suggestions only. I'll be 2 minutes only. The national structures of the offices, their offices must be thinking of all of us. For example, as a Jesuit education secretary, I am. Charles is the CBCI secretary. We need to think of the church level, the congregational level, and so on, how to bring out these changes practiced. All of us must think together. Therefore, my dear, structures have to be built up. And finally, last point is this questions. I have 2 questions for all of us. Number 1 is propose concrete ways and means of inculcating Catholic values and principles among us, the staff and the students of our institutions. How are we going to do that? Concrete ways have to be there. Second, as a Catholic educator, how can you bring this paradigm shift to achieve the goals and objectives of Catholic education? And we need to have, the very important thing, the Noster's theory, the famous managemental theory, which is applicable to education. He says 5 elements are important for us. And with that one, I stop my talk. 5 elements. Number 1 is all of us, the church must have, all of us must have, every organization must have, every school must have a vision. Unless there is a vision, nothing is going to happen. The new education policy starts with the vision. Similarly, all of us, whenever we have something, we start with the vision. So vision is the first, but vision will not work out unless you have the skills. Vision must be accompanied by necessary skills. Vision alone will not work. We need skills. But the skill also will not work unless there is enough incentives. Incentives means I give an appreciation, an encouragement. When you do good thing, I should say that you are doing well. That's the third point. Awarding and rewarding is part of that. So the first one is vision. Second one is the skill. Third one is the incentive. Fourth one is resources. We need to have resources. If there is no proper resources, we are not going to achieve anything. And finally, my dear fathers and sisters, brothers, otherwise Thomas Thanike will ask, you did not say brother. So I'm telling Thomas, I saw here. So I'm telling brothers also. We must have the 5th point, action plan. Short-term and long-term action plan. See, the government has brought out 2020 education policy for the next 20 to 30 years. Till 2040, they have prepared entire vision. I think we need to have an action plan. Thank you very much. I stop it here. We will take up these 15 changes as well as the action plan for the future. Thank you very much, and God bless all of us.
So, thank you very much, Father Sunny. Thank you for your wonderful presentation and for presenting the 15 points for the paradigm shift, and also giving us the 5 C's, 5 C's for a change, and also asking the national structures and the regional structures also to revamp. I think we have done a lot of inputs into this, but we would like to have your PowerPoint presentation sent to us at the earliest so that we can share it with the participants, because there are always audio problems with many participants who would not have been able to listen to you very clearly. So as a part of the tradition for the last 4 weeks, we have sent the PowerPoint presentation. We will continue to do that, both for the Joe Mannets as well as for the Sunny Jacobs will be sent in. Now, are there any views and questions that you would like to ask? Father Stan, for example, has asked a question that there is a disparity among our schools. Okay, both of you also can answer. For the Joe and for the Sunny can answer. There is a disparity. That is, we have a multi-tier educational system which leads not to integration but to a further division among the people in India. Yes, it is a very huge problem. Father is asking. Anyone would like to respond to that? What about the disparity among our schools? Okay. Yes, for the Sunny.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
See that disparity at what levels? What do you mean by disparity? Is it a rich and poor, or the urban rural disparity, or what do you means by?
So it's both at all levels. You have a disparity among the schools in India: urban, rural, rich and poor, government schools and private schools. As you said, now philanthropic, let's say, educationists.
Yes.
All this, actually, you have a multi-tier educational system which will not lead to integration, but it is automatically leading to a kind of division. This is the reason why I put this across to you, with all, which also refers to one another very small question. Father Joe as well as you, Father Sunny, both of you have asked to go from management or administration to animation. Now, my question is, half of our time or most of our time goes into looking after the institution, the financial aspect. Now, look at this. How are you going to educate the poorest of the poor in our country if you cannot think of finance? This is the problem of the people who are in the schools. I think it is easy for us to speak, right? So that's the reason why I put this question also to you.
Yeah, if I have to answer, thank you very much. That question, Father Stan, it's your clarity is there. These disparities are the realities. But now at the same time, how we overcome this? That's the first part we need to reflect. That is why this kinds of thinking coming in, and we must make a kind of centralized administrational, for example, the congregation level I can speak.
Well, Sunny, you are muted. You're not on here.
Father Sunny, we cannot hear you.
I am switching on, again it's switched off. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, Father. The first part is the disparities is a reality we need to reduce. That's why a clear thinking has to go in. And also our attitude has to change. Some of us in the bigger institutions always think that we are some kind of first-class citizens and others are not. That kind of a changes have to take place. Second part of your question is administration to animation. We need to move. That needs a lot of flexibility, a lot of openness to collaborate with the people, empowering the people. For example, I'm coming from Kerala and I studied in Kerala schools. Now, a priest is in charge of the schools. All of our lay people were the principals and so on. They were looking after the academic as well as the matters of the school. We need to radically rethink. Now we, Jesuits and Christian brothers, and I'm sure that many of our congregations must be already thinking of how to empower. There will be failures. Any risk is dangerous, you know. We need to face the difficulties and boldly. Sometimes we may fail, but are we ready to change this that particular aspect of our administration? We need to. Final point about that one is, see, look at our earlier fathers, Father. Even though I said administration is not completely going to be out of the scene. But can we make animation as major part of us? For example, how are we dealing with the students? How are we animating the people? How are we all barefoot menders? We need to. I think it's very, very important to change of attitude, and that reflection has to turn to this direction. Then things will be possible. But it is a must in the coming days. Thank you.
So, thank you very much for this, Ani. Thank you for answering, because this is a problem that we have been facing for many years. It is not a simple problem. Thank you for the stand. Thank you for the stand. Father Joe, would you like to respond to it? Father Joe, you have to unmute your mic, please.
Now audible?
Yes.
Okay. Some years ago, Spanish television Francis Rio came, spent 4 months with us in Bangalore. He was an expert on the Spanish educational system. In fact, as soon as the new government came with the law, he wrote a 600-page commentary on it. He said, looking around India, he said, this is how Spain was some 50 years ago. Lot of seminarians and young religious. He said, Joe, in Spain, we made 2 mistakes. He said, if you all want. One, we thought the future would be a continuation of the past, which it wasn't. Second, we did not prepare lay people when we had the means. Now all the schools are in the hands of lay people, nor do we have the means to train them. When we had the means, we didn't prepare and train them. He said these 2 big mistakes. I think that is true. I think in India we are making those 2 mistakes, as if the future will be like the past. Like, oh, vocations are going down in some part of India, let's go and get somebody. It's taking in anybody, because we think we need the numbers. I think this is a mistake. And secondly, not preparing lay people right now that we have the means. I think we can learn from the mistakes made elsewhere. For Sam's question, Sam, what I think is, in life, we can do only this much. So we need to have our priorities clear. Like when Father Gutierrez spoke about liberation theology, he said German theology, which is accepted by all, is talking about those who gain from modernity, namely Western Europe and North America. He said, he's talking about the victims of modernity. He said, that's the people I want to talk about, those who are victims, who are not even treated as human beings. So, you spoke about inequality. With globalization, inequalities increase both among nations and within nations. That is, if you have got a saleable skill or money to invest in globalization, you become much richer. If not, you hit rock bottom. So each of us needs to ask, do we want to be on the side of those who have benefited much or those who have been the victims? I think that choice we individually and the religious orders will make.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I think you have said very clearly about this problem, especially about in the context of victims of modernity. I think that says a lot about the present situation that we have, and a lot of philosophy. I think Father Stan also can keep us engaged on this topic, I'm very sure. So, but it is time to wind up the session because it's just time to close up. I think we have had those of you who have been present in the last 5 weeks, we have had about 450 people on average participating regularly. Though we had in the first few sessions more than 600 people too, but we have an average of 450 people participating in this conversation. I think we need to keep this conversation going, isn't it? I would suggest that you can visit our CBCI education website, and you can write to us in the blog. Okay, keep communicating about these topics. We cannot be spectators anymore. We cannot be spectators anymore. We need to be active participants, people who can contribute to the growth of the education that we have received, our educational system that we have received from our pioneers. pioneers. It is not to live in the past glory, but how are we going to enhance it? The new education policy, I would like to tell the participants that on the 20th of this month, on Thursday, from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m., we have a discussion on the review of the national education policy. I would invite all of you to participate in this. The link would be sent again to all these participants of these web series. So you're most welcome to participate in that webinar on the review of national education policy. We have already sent to you a paper from the CBCI on the review of Catholic policy, review of the national education policy. But based on the next national level consultation, we will take it up with the regional secretaries and the bishops, a few bishops at least, in order to draw a draft from the church's point of view to be presented to the HRD. So our process will continue. So, but on the 20th, you are most welcome to join. Is Tadeusz around here in the chat? We would like to talk about how we can keep the blogging going on, because blogging is
it's very simple. You can go there. After the box, there'll be 5 themes. I have already put it in the chat box. cbcieducation.com will put the 5 themes. And each theme, if someone wants to contribute, they can add their contribution and be accepted by you, then published. We continuously update. So this is a process, not just an event, all our discussions. So that is the methodology I suggest.
Thank you, Tadeusz. And you also see that the CBC Education is on Twitter, and we have a blog. So please join us in following this, and I would like you to take active participation in this. And also write to us continually about your views, and if you have any expectations of the CBCI Education Office, we will be delighted to respond to you. And thank you very much once again. Before we conclude, I would like also to thank all the bishops who have been also regularly participating. I have seen Bishop Rajendran, Bishop James Topel, and a few other bishops. Archbishop Elias Gonsalves also was present today. And once again, I would like to thank Most Reverend Thomas D'Souza, the chairperson of the CBCI Education Office for Education and Culture, who is a little indisposed. Okay, so he's not able to be present this 1 or 2 weeks. So please say a prayer for him that he gets well soon. And in his place, we have the member of the Education Office for Education and Culture, Most Reverend John Mulachida, who has been with us today. Thank you, Your Grace, for being present once again with us. And thanks to all the bishops. Bishop Andrews Tardath also had been present for many sessions, and he has been always very encouraging. So we'd like to thank all the bishops and others. Today, I would like to personally thank Father Joe Manath, as well as for the Sunny Jacob, a good friend of us, who put in a lot of good information for us, a lot of input, because the topic that we have today is something that we have consciously chosen, apostolic metanoia, inner purification that we church and we people need, especially the clergy. We need this very much in order to take the education forward to the next level. We need to introspect, we need to ask the right questions as to where we have gone wrong. Why have we moved towards money-seeking ventures? Whom are we supposed to really educate? Have we moved out from the target group? Has our education institution lost its philosophy and vision? Are we really still inspired by the founders, or are we going on our own path? There are a lot of questions that we need to ask ourselves in order to bring about a change and change within the Catholic Church about the education ministry that we offer to the poor and the marginalized. So we would like to once again thank. Is Archbishop John Mulachida with us still? Yes. Or can we just conclude with a short prayer, thanking the Lord for all that He has done to us? Okay. And we also present to Mother Mary for the graces that she has given to us in all these days. I would like you to join me in saying this prayer, Hail Mary, together. Hail Mary, full of grace, The Lord is with you. Blessed are you among women. Blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother
Mother
of
of
God,
God,
pray
pray
for us sinners, now and at
and
the
at the
hour
hour
of
of
our death. Amen.
Amen.
So God bless all of you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
God
Father.
bless. Thank you. God bless. God bless.
Thank you.
See you on the 20th in the afternoon at 3 p.m. on new education policy. Thank you very much. God bless.
Thank you. Thank you, Father.
Thank you, Father.
Thank you, dear.
Yes, Father. Thank you for the Joe. Thank you for the
Thank you.
wonderful session. Thank you for the Sunny Jacob. Okay. For the great
Thank you,
session.
Charles. Thank you, Joe. And thank you to everybody.
Yeah, please share your
Good job.
PPT immediately with us so that we can send it to the participants at the earliest. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. God bless.
Thank you, Father. God bless you.
Thank you, fathers.
Thank you, fathers.
Thank you, Father. Thank you very much, all of you.
Of you. Thank you, sisters. Thank you, brothers. Thank you, fathers.
Thank you, fathers. Thank you, sisters.
Thank you, Father.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you, fathers. Thank you, sisters. Thank you, Father. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Very much, Father.
Bye bye. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you for the organizing.
Thank you. Thank you very much, sister. Thank you very much. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Bye. Thank you. Bye.